I used to think a sudden financial windfall would make a person calmer. Then I watched a client receive more money than his parents had earned in their entire working lives, and within a year he looked more exhausted than he did before the money came. He was not careless. That is what made the story unsettling. He did not buy a mansion in Beverly Hills. He did not gamble it away. He did not try to impress strangers online. He made normal decisions that slowly became too large for his old life to hold. His name was Aaron. He was 38, married, 2 kids, a mortgage in Arizona, and a job in software sales that paid well but drained him. When his company went public, his stock options turned into a little over $3.2 million after taxes. If you like finance explained through real stories instead of empty motivation, subscribe to the channel before we go deeper, because Aaron's mistake was not that he spent too much too fast. His mistake was that he never decided what the money was for. That sounds simple, but it is the part most people skip. When money has no job, emotions hire it quickly. Relief hires some. Pride hires some. Guilt hires some. Fear hires some. And lifestyle inflation usually shows up wearing a very reasonable suit. At first, Aaron said he just wanted breathing room. Pay off the mortgage. Replace the aging minivan. Take one serious vacation after years of postponing everything. No one would call those choices crazy, but then breathing room turned into a new standard. A better neighborhood seemed logical. A private school tour seemed responsible. A second vehicle seemed convenient. A financial advisor suggested several strategies that sounded smart, complicated, and slightly above Aaron's comfort level. The problem was not the money. The problem was speed. Aaron's old financial life had been built around monthly income, predictable bills, and a paycheck routine. His new life required estate planning, tax planning, investment discipline, and emotional boundaries almost immediately. He had entered a level of personal finance where beginner mistakes became expensive. A decision that once cost him $300 could now cost him $30,000, and because the account was still large, the pain did not show up right away. By the end of the first year, Aaron still had plenty of money. But he had also built a life with higher fixed costs, more complicated decisions, and a quiet fear that if the market turned or his career slowed down, the freedom he celebrated might become another kind of trap. Aaron's first year looked responsible from the outside. He paid off the mortgage, opened investment accounts, met with a tax professional, and told everyone he was not going to let the money change him. But that phrase, "let the money change me," is tricky. Money always changes something. The real question is whether you choose the change consciously or let the change happen through pressure, convenience, and small upgrades you never stop to question. Aaron did not buy a mansion. He bought a better version of everything he already had: better travel, better restaurants, better furniture, better summer camps for the kids, better insurance, better memberships, better everything. Each upgrade made sense in isolation. That is how lifestyle inflation hides. It does not usually arrive as one outrageous purchase. It arrives as a sentence that sounds mature. We can afford something a little better now. The issue was not that Aaron enjoyed his money. Enjoyment is not the enemy. The issue was that he never separated one-time wealth from permanent income. A salary teaches you what your monthly life can carry. A windfall tricks you into thinking every month can be redesigned because one number looks large. But a large number can shrink quickly when it is forced to behave like a paycheck, a retirement plan, a college fund, a status symbol, and an emergency rescue account all at once. By month 8, Aaron had built new expectations around a number that was not renewing itself every 2 weeks. The mortgage was gone, but the spending baseline had moved up. The stress had not disappeared. It had changed shape. This is one of the quietest financial traps after sudden wealth. People stop asking, "What can this money do for my life over 30 years?" and start asking, "What can this money fix, upgrade, or prove right now?" Comment checklist below if you want the free checklist. I'll pin it in the comments so you can review the simple money management questions that help protect a windfall before lifestyle inflation turns it into another monthly pressure. The deeper problem showed up when the stock market dropped and Aaron saw 6 figures disappear from his portfolio in a few weeks. Aaron had always told himself he was a long-term investor. Then he watched his portfolio drop by more than $240,000 during a rough market stretch, and suddenly, long-term became a lot harder to say with confidence. Before the stock options, a bad market week was something he read about online. After the windfall, volatility felt personal. It felt like watching years of work evaporate while sitting at his kitchen island with a cup of coffee getting cold in his hand. That is one of the strange things about sudden wealth. The bigger the number, the more dramatic normal market movement feels. A 5% drop in a small account is annoying. A 5% drop in a multi-million-dollar account can feel like a car crash, even when the math is normal. Aaron started checking the market every morning, then at lunch, then before bed. He told himself he was staying informed, but he was really looking for emotional permission to feel safe again. This is where investing psychology becomes more important than investing tips. A person can understand index funds, diversification, and long-term compounding. But panic still walks through the door when the red numbers are large enough. His advisor told him not to react. His wife told him not to obsess. Aaron agreed with both of them, then opened the app again 10 minutes later. That is how anxiety works. It does not need new information. It just wants another hit of control. The market drop exposed a truth Aaron had avoided. He did not have a clear plan for how much risk he actually wanted. He had a portfolio, but not a philosophy. He had investments, but not a calm reason to stay invested when the screen turned ugly. Here is the psychological trap. When money comes suddenly, the person often feels like they have one chance not to mess it up. That pressure turns every market dip, every tax question, every purchase, and every family request into a test of whether they deserve the money. Aaron was not afraid of being poor again in any immediate sense. He was afraid of becoming the cautionary tale. The guy who had the windfall made a few soft mistakes and spent the rest of his life explaining where it went. That fear made him overthink good decisions and delay important ones. It made him stare at the market instead of building a written plan. It made him confuse movement with control, when what he really needed was structure. Think of sudden wealth like being handed the controls to a plane in the middle of clear blue sky. Nothing looks dangerous at first. The view is beautiful, the machine feels powerful. But if you do not understand the instruments, calm weather can trick you into believing you know how to fly. Aaron had clear skies in year one, good income, strong net worth, no mortgage, healthy kids, a marriage that looked steady from the outside. But underneath, he had no written flight plan for the money. That meant every new piece of turbulence felt personal. A market drop felt like failure. A tax bill felt like punishment. A family request felt like a moral exam. A big purchase felt like proof that he was finally allowed to enjoy life. The account was large enough to hide bad habits, and that made it dangerous. When someone is broke, a bad habit shows up fast. When someone is newly wealthy, the same habit can stay hidden behind a 7-figure balance until it has quietly changed the whole lifestyle. Aaron eventually realized that he did not need more clever strategies. He needed fewer moving parts, fewer accounts he did not understand, fewer upgrades that created fixed costs, fewer reasons to check the market every morning like it was judging him. His advisor helped him divide the money into jobs: safety money, long-term investment money, college money, tax money, giving money, enjoyment money. Once each bucket had a job, every request no longer had access to the whole pile. That changed the way he felt, not instantly, but slowly. The market still moved. People still asked. Bills still arrived. But every event no longer felt like it could rewrite his entire future. This is what financial planning is supposed to do. Not make you feel brilliant, not make you sound rich at dinner. It gives your nervous system fewer reasons to panic when life gets loud. Comment checklist below if you want the free checklist. I'll pin it in the comments so you can review the simple rules that help protect a windfall before taxes, lifestyle inflation, market fear, and emotional pressure start making decisions for you. The first rule is to stop treating one-time money like monthly income. A windfall can build freedom, but only if it is not forced to pay for every new version of the life you suddenly feel allowed to want. Second, build a written risk plan before the market scares you. Decide how much cash you need, how much volatility you can survive, and what you will do when your portfolio drops before the drop actually happens. Third, automate the boring parts. Aaron set fixed monthly transfers, simplified his accounts, and stopped treating every market headline like a personal instruction. The less he touched the plan emotionally, the better the plan worked. Fourth, create an enjoyment budget without guilt. This matters because if every dollar is either fear money or investment money, the person eventually rebels. A healthy plan gives permission to enjoy some money without letting enjoyment take over the whole system. Fifth, keep earning or building in some form. Aaron did not need the same job forever, but he needed purpose, structure, and a reason to use his skills beyond watching the account balance move. Over time, the windfall stopped feeling like a fragile prize he might lose and started feeling like a foundation. Not because the market became calm, not because life stopped asking for money, but because his decisions were no longer being made by panic. The big reveal is that sudden wealth does not make you financially mature. It removes the delay between your emotions and expensive consequences. More money gives you more options, but without a plan, more options can become more ways to drift. So look at your own life for a second. Even without a windfall, where are you already letting emotion act like a budget? Where are you upgrading because you feel behind? Where are you waiting for more money instead of building better rules? Comment checklist below and check the pinned comment. I'll leave the free checklist there so you can review the money rules that help protect your future before sudden income, sudden success, or sudden pressure changes the way you think. Aaron thought the money would give him control, but what finally gave him control was learning that every dollar needs a job before every emotion tries to give it one.